I want to first thank you all for coming. And before we begin, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the victims of the tragedy unfolding today in San Bernardino. So, a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. My name is Nina Ahmed, and I am the co-chair of the Kenney Commerce and Economic Development Transition Committee, and I'm very happy to announce that I'm also a newly appointed deputy mayor for public engagement, and this is exactly what we're doing today. Thank you. Thank you. So tonight, Mayor-elect Jim Kenney and our transition committee are here to listen. That's our job today, is to listen. We believe community input is a critical part of this transition process, and we want to hear your thoughts about how we can achieve our goal of moving every neighborhood in Philadelphia forward. So now I would like the other members of the transition team who are here tonight to stand and please introduce themselves. And we're supposed to get a mic now, so I can hand it to them. Oh, she's here. Tara's here. Thank you. So we'll start on that end.
Dr. Branville Bard, Public Safety Co-Chair.
I'm Mike Nadal, and I'm co-chairing on finance and administration issues.
Good evening, everybody. Janie Blackwell, City Council, 3rd District, right across the street.
Good evening, I'm Councilman Curtis Jones. I'm Janie Blackwell's intern.
I'm Jim Kenney. I'm friends with Janie and Curtis. So.
Good evening, my name is Anita Davidson, and I'm part of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee.
Hello, my name is Jamie Gaudier, and I'm on the Environment and Sustainability Committee.
Buenas noches, good evening. My name is Will Gonzalez, and I'm part of the Immigration Transition Committee.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience? Yeah. I have to look at with my glasses on. Go ahead, they're getting the mic.
Hi, I'm Hillary Leonardopoulos with the Philadelphia Federation of Teachers, and I'm on the Education Transition Committee.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ann Gemmel. I'm serving as the co-chair of the Education Transition Committee and also newly appointed director of pre-K.
Hi, my name is Lou Rodriguez. I am on the Infrastructure and Transportation Committee.
Tara.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
She's been doing this every day for the last few days.
Hi, I'm Bill Peebles. I'm on the Public Safety Committee.
Okay. Is that all our committee members here today? So now we'll have our mayor-elect, Jim Kenney, come up and say a few words.
Thank you very much, and thanks for coming out. I know the weather's not perfect, and you have things to do in your home with your kids and your neighborhoods, and I really do appreciate the fact that you're here this evening. All throughout the campaign, wherever I went, people would say to me inevitably, what are you going to do? And I would stop them and say, what are we going to do? Because this isn't about me. It's about all of us. And I think that's a very important theme that we should carry into the next year. I am honored and humbled to have been elected mayor. I was not elected king. I was elected as a person who has a responsibility to serve you. And I would like to also thank my former colleagues, Councilwoman Blackwell and Councilman Jones, for coming. It is very, very important that the mayor's office and council work together. It's extremely important. And I'm committed to showing them the respect that they deserve and they've earned in the course of their careers. They're good people with good ideas. They're independently elected, and we're going to work our ideas together and move the city forward. But what we're here tonight for is to listen to you. And meetings like this could easily become a gripe session, and if you have a complaint, you certainly have every opportunity and right to express it. But what we really want to hear from you is what your vision for the city is, where we should be going, where we should be investing, where we should be taking our resources, and how we should be applying them to the things that matter to you in West Philadelphia and in Philadelphia. And I think that's the most important thing we can get out of that, because every one of our transition team members that are here will understand and take that back to their committees, so that as we move forward with our policy recommendations and our policy creation, all of you will have had a say in where we're going, and I think that's very, very important. So thanks again for being here, and what we'll do is Nina's going to moderate. She'll give you some restrictions on time. I would try to keep it to a minute. We try to make it that you make a statement and not complain yet. I'll come back next year and you can complain then, because I said to one of my friends up here that I wish I could become mayor-elect forever. Because everybody's high-fiving you and hugging you and taking selfies, and that's going to change. So hopefully it won't change too soon. So thank you, and thanks for coming, and we'd love to hear what you have to say.
We're going to make sure he has a nice honeymoon period. So just a few points of order for tonight. If you're interested in speaking, please raise your hand. Our staff members will walk over to you and hold the microphone for you as you speak. So I'm not going to call on anyone. They're going to be walking around and observing. We also ask that you keep your comments to no more than 1 minute, so that we have time to get as many people's opinions and comments as possible. Additionally, this is a family event, so please avoid using profanity or speaking or acting in any manner that would be inappropriate for children. Always the check, is this good for little ears? Also, there are members of the media here tonight. If you would prefer that your comments not be recorded or reported, please state that before you speak. We ask the media to respect the citizens' requests. If you would like to join the conversation on Twitter, please use the hashtag #PHLTownHall. And finally, if you do not get a chance to speak tonight following the event, staff members will be available outside the auditorium to take your questions or concerns. You can also go online to kenneyforphiladelphia.com, Kenney for Philadelphia, all one word, and submit your thoughts there. So thank you, and we'll start taking questions. She's coming.
Yep. Right here. Oh, you want to hold it? Okay. How you doing? Good evening, everyone. We have community models in Philadelphia right now, and what we would like to see is community organizations across the city of Philadelphia empowered more to do community policing in their area. Community policing is called community policing because it's done by the community. And with our model that we've already established and have set up, if it's followed, it can help other community organizations across the city of Philadelphia. But with you being mayor now, it's going to be up to you to help empower these community organizations across the city of Philadelphia, and we need to know how that's going to happen.
First of all, I hope that you're happy with our selection as police commissioner. Richard Ross, I think, is probably... He was really my only choice, and we went through a process and looked at some other folks, but I was always hoping, and I'm glad that he came out of the process. He is an excellent person, an excellent police officer, an excellent leader. And I know that he works very closely with community groups, both PDACs and Town Watch and other community organizations relative to community policing. And he's expressed those concerns to me, that he wants some more resources and some more availability to spread that effort throughout the city. So I will task him with making sure that happens and that people are brought in. You remember the Philadelphia Police Department's motto is to protect and serve. It's nothing else. It's to protect and serve. And we've gotten away from understanding what that motto means and what it really means to people in the neighborhoods. So I'm looking forward to a better relationship with our police and our communities, and Richard Ross will be the person who will make that happen, and we will make sure that he reaches out. And if you can give our staff person the information on how we get a hold of you, we'll be happy to pass it on to him. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anna Hargrove, and I just wanted to make a comment to our good Mayor Kenney and everybody else that's on the panel regarding foster care. We now are in a dilemma of children being not really properly serviced and being in homes that they're not learning anything. And I really would like for us to come up with a plan that would be put in place so our children would have a home and not just be placed in a home and not really receiving the things that they would need in order to move forward. So I would like to know, has there been any consideration to a certain amount of money that will be put into this effort?
We are in the process of reviewing all of our issues relative to DHS, Health Department, behavioral health, and the like. One of the things that I think is sad that we've not really made an effort to keep children, if they can't stay in their parental home, to at least be in the home of a family member, someone that the child is not totally foreign to the child. And if we should be making those efforts, a better effort to keep families together as best we can. But when a child has to be placed, we want to make sure that we place that child in a place that in an environment that is healthy for them and nurturing for them. We are going to make sure we pick the best people to run those departments, to run DHS, and there needs to be more done between behavioral health and DHS to make sure the resources are there to ensure what you're concerned about. Okay. I'd also like to recognize Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, who's come here tonight. I really thank him for being here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Thelma Peak, and I'm a child care provider. I've been in West Philadelphia, Southwest Philadelphia, for over 27 years. And my question is about the Universal Pre-K program. When the Universal Kindergarten came into play with one of our mayors, it took a lot of the children that were in the daycare centers out and placed them into public school situations, which caused a lot of day kindergarten anymore. And with the Universal Pre-K, the alarm is going up with the child care providers that are not a star 3 or higher, that they would lose their business because they would not be able to have that Head Start Pre-K program. What would be in place so that those people, daycare providers that have invested their retirements, brought daycare centers into the communities, will not be tossed to the side for a major daycare corporation that have come into our city? There's over 200 and so many daycares in the state of Pennsylvania with this large daycare corporation. What will happen with daycare centers that are not part of that large corporation, that are not the Star 3?
Okay, I'm going to ask Ann Gemmel to come. She's going to head up our pre-K efforts, and she will answer your question.
I'm so glad you brought that up. You're actually the first person to raise a pre-K question in the town hall, so thank you very much. I'm also glad to see the green shirt in the room, Action for Early Learning. What's going on in the Promise Zone is a collaborative effort with Drexel and William Penn Foundation, and they are working with Star 1 and Star 2 providers to give them the resources and the leg up so that they can get to a level of quality so that we can all be accountable for public dollars that will be invested. So we're very aware of the tensions between the pre-K centers that are striving for quality and the ones that are already there and able to access additional subsidies. So we intend to build quality networks in high-need areas where the Star 1 and Star 2 will have mentorship, will have resources so that they can get what they need to reach quality levels.
That's a satellite program that works with 19104. There are other daycare centers that are not just in 19104.
Right.
We're talking about Citywide.
Yep.
We're talking about West Philadelphia.
Yep.
We're in West Philadelphia.
I'm a firm believer that children should be educated in their neighborhoods by neighborhood people. And one of the opportunities that we have to create employment is by partnering people in the community who want to get into early childhood education to get with community college and other opportunities to train for those certificates so they can work in their neighborhood, in your establishment and others. There's no sense in dragging kids out of the neighborhood into places, into large pre-K or daycare operations. We want them in their neighborhoods. We want everybody to benefit from this, including especially our children, but we don't want to, and we're not going to create a system that shuts you out or that makes you close. We need you. We need every seat possible in order to get to the 18, 19,000 kids that are not getting an opportunity for pre-K now. So I can assure you we're going to be neighborhood-based, and we're not going to be dragging them out into large pre-K operations, large for-profits. We recognize and appreciate the work that you do in the neighborhood. We'll be working with you to assist with that STAR program to get you to a 3 and 4, if you desire, but we're still going to need your seats and, the availability of the children you can take care of in your operation and your business, along with others. So we have no intention, as a matter of fact, we have every intention of making sure that it's community-based and not taking kids out of our neighborhoods into large operations. That's a commitment.
Good evening. How you everyone doing tonight? My name is Sister Tilia Taylor. I work closely with City Council and other community leaders, and everyone knows me that I really go hard for all the youth programs. And main concern for me is all the closing of the schools, the different schools that are up for closing, the recreation centers, and as I aggressively go to each neighborhood, especially the ones that really need programs, as I myself as a community leader and take it upon myself to open up programs, what is the city going to do to help other community leaders as myself?
It's very, very important that we take all the services that the city provides now through its operating departments and concentrate the service delivery, some of that service delivery, through the school-based model, through the public schools. For example, a lot of our public school gymnasiums are dark at night when they could be utilized by volunteers in the community, along with Department of Recreation employees, to open up those gyms, to get some leagues going, to do soccer, do volleyball, do basketball. And we need to deal with the SRC to make sure that we're not penalizing people who want to volunteer in their own neighborhoods by charging exorbitant numbers to open up a gym. So if a building engineer is needed to open up a gym, a City of Philadelphia recreation worker on a different shift could do the same thing. I mean, I know of schools in Southfield, for example, that allow neighborhood parents to come in with the key, recreate their kids, and lock up at night. We trust people to do that, to do the right thing, and we'll ensure what we have to ensure. That goes for recreation. It also goes for DHS. It goes for health department services. We need to continue to move services that the city provides into schools, because the person who knows the best about what's going on with a child is the principal or the teacher. They know when the child's in trouble. They know when the family's in crisis. They understand that. And to have that interaction with DHS workers, with health department workers, and other professionals to say what's going on in the school this month, who's in trouble, what kids you think are having problems, and to deal with the problems directly before they have to be placed in foster care, to give the family the support services necessary, again, through the school. And that's what we saw when I went out with Council President Clark to Cincinnati and saw their community school model. It is, and what's really wonderful about it, it's not costing the Cincinnati School District anything. These children are Medicaid eligible for the most part, or we sign them up for the Affordable Care Act, and it's paid for. So we need a resource coordinator to work, a neighborhood person to work with those resources and make sure we bring them all together, and also talk to the people in the communities about what they want to see in their schools, what programs they want. For too long, it's been done from the top down, not from the neighborhood up. And you know better what you need for your children than the SRC. So, thank you.
Let the bike go. Let it go. Am I next? My name is Carl Moore. I'm 73 years old. I've come to City Council and to last past mayor in reference about Dr. Hyde. I'm here to talk about the nurses within the school. I'm here to talk about the $35 million he gave to his friends to penalize going on. That $35 million could have hired 300 nurses throughout the school system. I'm here to talk about Dr. Hyde going through different things when we have a personnel system within the school system to hire people. I'm here to talk about Dr. Hype giving $10 to $20 million to his friends and all. I'm here to talk about Dr. Hype doing his thing. I told City Council in 2012 that this man was full of it. I have the experience and background to know his particular thing. Don't tap me no more, I'm gonna tell it all. Okay? Now, you people up there on City Council, Mayor Kenney, I trust you. I want to start in January 1st when you start to bring the nurses in and to tell him. In 2012, Dr. Hyde have no fear and have no respect for City Council of the mayor. In 2012, the president, the old school superintendent told me that 35 schools were going to be closed. She told me that Mayor Nutter knew about it. Mayor Nutter act dumb. City Council, I've given y'all all the information about Dr. Hyde's background. When it comes down to putting community nurse clinics within the school, that's what my background's in. Plus, I've been in city government for 25 years. I am not going to allow this man to continue on, and I don't expect you, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you for your
We know each
comments.
other, and the city council members, do not take the more stuff. This man is stealing from us. Stop it.
Thank you for your passionate opinion. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor-elect Kenney. Congratulations. My name is Gregory Benjamin. I live in Southwest Philadelphia. Wanted to know about your interest in supporting block captains. We have a group of block captains in Southwest Philadelphia, and we've been engaged over the years from everything from keeping our libraries open in that fight to our more recent activity where we showed movies out in our playground last year. We want to partner. We've had an opportunity to work with the councilwoman. She's been very supportive of what we do. Matter of fact, we just met and had dinner Monday evening. But we want to work with the city. We want to work with everybody. We want to know, what are your plans to really empower block captains in the city of Philadelphia? Thank you.
Well, thank you for that really important question. Part of the work that the Office of Public Engagement will be doing is to be talking to folks like you, to look at structures that are already in place so we're not reinventing the wheel, but how to connect you and make you part of what our public safety efforts are. So block captains in Philadelphia have had a long history of really being the eyes and ears of a community. And I think the fact that we have a robust system is something we have to take advantage of and connect all the dots so that we can have people being eyes and ears at the ground level. So I thank you for your commitment, and we're definitely going to be reaching out to connect all those dots.
Just let me add also, for the years I spent in city council, I was an at-large member, not a district council member. And I have two district council members here who work very hard and know their districts quite well and know all the block captains quite well. I mean, I have nowhere to go but other than these folks for the direction that I need to put the resources in place that you direct us that you need. I think that's the most important thing. We don't want to develop a program for you. We want you, based on each individual neighborhood, to tell us what you need in those neighborhoods, and then we'll provide those resources to you with the help and guidance of your district council people. And I think if we all work together, we can accomplish that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Mayor-elect Kenney. My name is Mark Harrell. I'm a NAC community organizer at the Southwest Community Development Corporation. The NACs across the city, the neighborhood advisory councils, are under contract with the Office of Housing and Community Development under the leadership of Belinda Mayo to provide a very valuable source to the residents of the city of Philadelphia. There used to be over 30 NACs across the city providing the same services that we provide now. Right now, there's approximately about 19 in the city doing the same work that 30 NACs used to do. We testified before City Council several months ago to talk about the work we do and the benefit that the city of Philadelphia has by having the NACs providing the services that we do. But funding is decreased almost yearly for the NACs, but the work seems to increase. What is your position?
Well, I come from South Philadelphia originally, and there's a very active group of NACs in South Philadelphia, so I really know of what you're speaking about and know the work that they do. Budgeting is setting priorities. And this administration coming in will set priorities based on our interaction with you and the public. So I don't know the reason why this particular administration cut NAC funding to the point that they did, but certainly our conversations in the next budget will be listening to what the community people need and what they want, and again, working with district council people and at-large people who have to vote on the budget to provide the resources necessary to get you back in the resources that you need to get your job done, get your neighbor done. And I promise we'll have a very open budget process. As a matter of fact, I've already invited the council president to give us a couple people in his tech staff to work with our budget people as we devise the next budget. So everyone knows what we're doing. It's very open and transparent, and I understand the work that the NACs do, they're important, and we'll try to supplement them as best we can. Yes, sir.
I just want to make a program note. We're at halftime, so for some people who came, perhaps joined us a little later, I just want to go over the rules of engagement, so to speak. If you're interested to speak, please raise your hand. Our staff members are going to walk over to you.
Greetings. I'm Mama Gail. I'm a community activist. Sir, I would like to invite you to Huey School. I've created a welcome center, community welcome center, Parents Corner Cafe, and I want you to come visit. You talked about models. We created a community model that can be replicated all over the country. And what I want to say to you, I normally carry a bell, and I ring my bell saying to Dr. Height, it's time to go. We've never had a superintendent that I know of. And I've been around with Dr. Clayton, and I sat with Dr. Clayton, all the way to Dr. Ackerman. I've never seen anyone who does not respect community. And I'm not talking just parent involvement or parent engagement, because that's no. But I'm saying community as well. And so I would like for you, I was told I'm only supposed to ask a question. I'm not asking you this. I'm telling you, we need you to take a look, and a real look, and for all of you that are involved in public engagement, listen to what the people are telling you. You said it's about we, right? All of us together, we're telling you what we need is we're telling Dr. Height what we need. He has not listened, and I'm asking your administration to listen to the people. We've been around a long time doing this.
I appreciate your statement and your question. I will tell you that I've been in mostly all of our schools. I've not been in yours, but I will get there, I promise. And I understand we don't need to recreate the wheel when it comes to community services in schools, and we'll try to replicate some of the models that you've accomplished there at your school and to put them into other schools and talk to the parents and try to make that happen. Janie Blackwell and Curtis Jones have both told me up here that you're awesome at what you do and how you do it and how you get people involved, and we need you as part of our help team to move things forward. So I make a commitment in front of all these people to make sure I come and see you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kaba from Parkside Avenue Community and Action. I'm trying to talk about methadone. The methadone clinic is destroying our community, and we have a school district here. We do not need methadone in this district at this point. There's a children care and older care and very good school in this area. The methadone, they come out, they sell drug around the school kid, they do all these other things and litter people property. This is our concern here. We live in this neighborhood. We do not need them. So what can you do? We demand that they move out of here and relocate them in any other space that you can. It's actually destroying the kids, selling drug around the corner on Parkside Avenue. No kid can run around or take any type of bus in the public community. And this is actually affecting the whole entire community, including the kids.
Yep.
So this is my concern here that I want you to address today.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, and I've talked to Councilman Jones, who's aware of the area that you're talking about, and he said that the methadone operation there has been there for about 25 years. The neighborhood's beginning to improve in certain ways, but we need to make sure that they run those operations in the correct way that does not impact the community. But I will tell you, people need to recover. We really need recovery, and I think that. And while I recognize that a bad operation can really destroy the neighborhood, we need to get people off their drugs and in recovery, and make sure that we use our behavioral health dollars in the best way possible to make sure people do recover. Because a recovered person is a redeemed person, a person who can make a contribution to our communities and be good parents again and be good children again. And there's a balance we need to find between opportunities to recover and where they are. But again, I think this operation has been here for about 25 years. And you have to remember also, too, and this is not an excuse, but it's the truth. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, people who are recovering in treatment are considered disabled. And it's difficult to force people to move operations around without going in violation of federal law. So we will work with you and that community to make sure that we make it as safe and productive as possible. But I need more people recovering because we have a really serious drug epidemic, heroin and other oxycodone and all those drugs. We really need to get people right and clean.
We do not have an issue with that. The main issue we have, they overwhelm also. They're coming from northeast, south, all over the United States.
We need more recovery. We need more recovery in various neighborhoods, not in one neighborhood. And we have, and you know why? Because obviously there's people addicted to drugs all over the city. If they're coming from the northeast to Parkside, it's all over the city. So we need to make sure that people accept a balance of ability for people to recover the right way, and we will work with you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. So just in the interest of time and so many people, I know we're not going to get to all of you. I'm going to time you guys for a 1-minute question, all right? Start.
Hello. Yes, my name is Lloyd Carpenter, Democratic Committee Person, 46th Ward, 13th Division. My question was recreation, not parks and recreation centers. A lot of recreation centers need a lot of work on it, but it takes capital dollars to bring those centers up to par. They've been neglected over the years for other things. Another thing is staffing of recreation centers, the level of staffing. I'm at the Albert Christie Recreation Center. I've been there over 30 years volunteering, and I've seen the different changes over the years. I want to know what kind of vision do you have for the recreation centers?
Great, you were 48 seconds, wonderful.
Well, on our recreation centers, we are now working with our managing director designee, Mike DeBerdinis, who has connected with the William Penn Foundation in an effort to provide some grant money to do a full assessment of every recreation center and park in our city to determine what the needs are. And then try over the period of the first 4 years of the administration to perhaps do a bond issue or something that will get the money needed to fix those places up and make them what they should be. I mean, our children should play in recreation centers and fields that are as nice as the suburbs, and we don't. And despite the fact of their hard work and trying to make sure their districts are maintained, we need an infusion of capital to get that done, and we're working on that. On the other side, on the recreation side, on the staffing side, we need to make sure the recreation centers are staffed adequately, but we have to do outreach in the community to get more people in from the neighborhood into the centers to help with this effort. These are our children, they're all our children, and we need to make some sacrifice for them to get into the rec centers and help these rec leaders run these programs, and I think we can do that together by the right outreach.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jihad Ali. I'm here, as the Mayor-elect Kenney said, if this is about us, we the people. I think one of the things we would ask you to do, Mayor-elect Kenney, is to ask for the resignation of someone from OEO, the head of OEO, Office of Economic Opportunity, and also one of the things that the current mayor has allowed is in terms of diversity and third-party inclusion, they allow a person that's on the mayor's cabinet to get over 700 contracts. That doesn't seem ethical. And the third thing is, when you're going to deal with black men, can you at least have a man in charge of things that deal with black men? So particularly what caught my attention was when you gave somebody a position and you put black male enrichment under them. And I think that we should have black men setting the example for other black men.
First of all, that department may be under a certain managing director, but the person leading that will be a black male. So I mean, so it's not, we're not done. We have 50 additional positions we have to fill between now and January 4th. So we're working on that. But I will tell you what this administration has done, which no other administration has done, is create an office, a chief diversity officer in the city. Nolan Atkinson is a well-respected, tremendously talented lawyer who has worked over the years to diversify the Bar Association and to diversify his own large law firm. He is committed, and he has my authority to go into every department in the city, to tear it apart and figure out why people are not being promoted and why people are not being hired, and to come back with it, and to come back with the legislative fixes that we need to make sure that that happens, because I think it was the Pew Foundation did a study about supervisory levels in the city government, and it is woefully poor when it comes to people of color. And we're going to change that, because Nolan Atkinson has been tasked with changing that, and that's his only job. His only job, and it's a big one, his only job is to make sure that our workforce, supervisory, entry level, and the top of it looks like the city of Philadelphia. And also he's tasked with making sure that contracts are distributed appropriately as based on what the city looks like and what the city needs. We need to spread the wealth in this town, and it's not been spread. His job is to spread it.
Mayor Kenney, I'd like to welcome you, your distinguished transitional team, respective distinguished city council person, Janie Curtis Anthony. I'm Harbin Thurman from East Parkside Resident Association. I'd like to say to each and every one of you in the room, welcome, okay? This is our neighborhood, okay? I'm asking you, Mayor-elect Kenney, I'm looking forward to meeting with you and your transitional team to aid the Centennial District called Cross the Bridge and Parkside respectfully so. Welcome. Thank you.
My name is Edwin Goff. I am a person who came to Philadelphia by way of West Philadelphia on a sabbatical, 12-month sabbatical leave research project. My interest is nonprofits, their intersection between one another and with City Hall. My interest from there is with education for all of our children and the means by which nonprofits can be a continuing substantive part of that. And my interest is the cross-section between nonprofits, education, and governance responsibility. The accountability of the present administration has been good. It needs to be better. There has to be responsiveness to what is and what is between municipal accountability and state accountability. And I would like, if you could, Mayor-elect Kenney, it always comes up on my spell check. Well, I be from South Philly in another way, but thank you so much, and I want all of these three things to happen.
Thank you. 1 minute, that was it. Okay.
Hi, my name is Wanda Logan, and I've been doing employment now for over 20 years, staffing. And right now in West Philadelphia, we have a large amount of returned citizens. We have a large amount of people that are unemployed. And I don't see a lot of opportunity that has come this way to place our people in employment. And the only way that we're going to be able to survive on this end is to get some employment on this end. I know that we have the universities that are hiring people. With the law that changed about marijuana, you're allowed to have an ounce or whatever. What they neglected to tell a lot of these young people is when you get a drug test, that automatically discloses you from that employment opportunity.
Let me start from the end first with the marijuana decriminalization. When we did that, it had very little to do with marijuana and had everything to do with a criminal record. 83% of the 4,200 people on average that were arrested for marijuana possession were people of color. Now, there's a lot more people than people of color using weed, and they ain't getting locked up. So it also talks much to the issue of stop and frisk. Now, my son's 26 years old. He's a college student, and I'm sure he's dabbled, whatever, right? He's never been stopped and frisked in his life because of who he is. And because only young men of color were being stopped, then the articles were being found and they were being arrested and given a criminal record, which makes it almost impossible for you to be employed, period. I recognize the drug test part of it, and that's something that needs a discipline, and we need education, and also people need to know not to use it because it's going to affect their job. But I didn't want them arrested in the first place. And you go down to the Lincoln Financial Field or the rock concert at the Wells Fargo Center, there's a lot of people look like me smoking away, and nobody's locking them up. So that's why we did that. Secondly, we need to change the narrative when it comes to people reentering our society from incarceration. These are human beings. They've gone astray, and they've gone astray for lots of reasons: education, family life, lack of opportunity, mistakes, just falling away. But they're coming back, and they should not come back with a stigma. They should not come back with that scarlet letter on them that they're unemployable. And when I was a kid growing up in South Philadelphia, the waterfront was a major place where people worked who didn't have a college education. It's 50% African American, 50% white. Nobody had a college. A lot of guys didn't have high school, and a lot of guys had been in jail. But they all made a good living because they worked hard and had the opportunity to work. We're looking to work with the state and the private sector now down at the waterfront in South Philadelphia at the Packer Avenue Marine Terminal to double the container input of our city. Right now we do about 450,000 containers. We could easily do 1 million with the right investment. Those are the kinds of jobs that we can put 191 zip code people towards who don't have a college education and who have perhaps been in jail. But we need to make sure that we also give people opportunities while they're incarcerated to do something better with their lives when it comes to drug treatment, when it comes to education and job training. And I also believe that we should get people out of jail on a daily basis who want to be out, put an ankle, not an orange jumpsuit, not a chain gang, put an ankle bracelet on them just to make sure that they stay with us, and put them side by side with city employees in the sanitation department, the recreation department, everywhere we can place them so that they can have a role model of what it is to be a person that gets up and goes to work every day and what they do when you're doing a good job every day, and to reward them for that. And then have the opportunity when you come out to use city employment as a way to enter the workforce. Something I've learned, and I'm embarrassed that I learned it. We have provisions in our contracts with our vendors that do work for the city, private companies, that they're not allowed to hire ex-offenders. I mean, if we're asking the Chamber of Commerce to ban the box and do these things to make people's lives better, the city's got to stand up and do the right thing too. And we're not doing it, but we will do it. Every single person has a chance to redeem themselves. We can't redeem them. They have to redeem themselves. But we can give them the opportunities to redeem themselves. And if they're redeemed, they become taxpayers, they become parents again, they become good community members, they become part of the community. And I think I'm not giving up on anybody. I think all of those folks have the opportunity to come back. And we're going to try everything we can to make sure that happens. Thank you.
Okay. I'm giving respect to our mayor-elect and to our councilpersons and the staff. I've been a resident here in East Parkside for 47 years and a community activist. And my concern is the storm water system that we have here. We have these lots and things, but there's no water on them. There's no drain or anything, but yet we're getting bills for $400 and $500. And it's hard enough paying your regular water bill without paying one on the lot that I have next door. Because even when I water the little garden that I try to have, that's from my own yard, so I have to pay for that water. But this storm water system, I mean, right now, this $500 bill, mine is $500. Some people is even more. I've questioned them, so I mean, I think that's something that should be looked into because there's no water on these lots. There's nothing to even catch the water on our lots.
Is your lot a grass lot or is it cement?
It's a what?
Is it a grass lot or is it?
Yeah, it's a grass.
It's a well. We should have the water. We should have the water department take a look at your property because if it's a grass lot, it is automatically brought into the water. We don't have to treat that water. It comes down and goes right through the ground. There's no reason you should be getting charged for stormwater management. So let us give one of the young people that work with us the address, and we'll take a look at the water department, see what they can come out and assess the whole neighborhood. Because in certain areas of South Philly, for example, they put in these planting beds and these grass areas that have absorbed a lot of the water out of the system. So we can deal with your problem. Sue?
You mark it void?
Well, we can talk about it. I can't pay it for you. I don't have a job right now. I'm unemployed till January, so.
Hi, Mayor-elect Kenney, Councilwoman Janie Blackwell, and Councilman Curtis Jones, and all the transition team. My name is Teresa Sims, and I am the committee person for the 46th Ward, 18th Division, and I'm also president of Cedar Point Park Neighborhoods Association, which is a neighborhood RCO. I would like to address, or your administration to address the current status of our zoning situation. We have had a massive zoning change in 2013 that has, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other neighborhoods' opinion, wreaked havoc on the neighborhoods. We have a lot of unintended consequences that are happening from this zoning change because it's confusing and people really don't understand it. We have these by right issues that make the neighborhood organizations feel like toothless tigers because they feel they have no rights, so they don't go and pursue. And we have developers who are making violations, and the neighbors are being policemen of it, and nothing's happening from L&I to resolve that.
First of all, L&I is going to be a totally different situation. L&I is primarily a public safety office agency. It's not many of the things that we've tried to make it do. It's to keep neighborhoods safe and make sure construction, demolition, and all the things that go on in neighborhoods are safe. For example, one of the things that drives me crazy are these people who just take the sidewalk. These guys who put that crime scene tape up and just take the sidewalk and make you walk in the street like they own it. I mean, in New York, they don't do that stuff. In New York, there's sidewalk sheds, there's lighted areas to walk in safety, and we're going to get back to that system that New York uses. But on the zoning stuff, what happened when they did the zoning code over, it's like they empty out your basement with all the stuff you accumulate over the years. Some stuff you keep, some stuff you throw away. Well, that's what they did with the zoning code. They kind of took everything out of it. There are ways of doing overlays that your district council people are well aware of to protect those parts of your community that are either overdeveloped or high-rise developed or developed in a way that you don't agree with. And there's and what happens is over years, all those overlays wind up building up again, and 50 years from now, we're going to have to redo the zoning code again. But I won't be there to deal with it. But I think and I don't know whose district, are you in Janie's district? I hope you guys get along, because I think she's one of the most vigilant council members when it comes to those issues. And I know with the RCO stuff that she was very, very strong in her opinions when we were doing the zoning code bill. But sometimes these issues need to be dealt with on a property-by-property basis, because you're right, those guys, they want to make money, and we have this problem in North Philadelphia. It's unbelievable. Some of the development around Temple, those developers don't care anything about those neighbors. They're dropping cement on their cars, they're dumping construction debris in vacant lots, and we've been chasing those guys around for years now, and we're going to continue to make sure that they play by the rules. So your district council person is the first stop, and then she'll deal with us and try to figure out what you need legislatively to protect your neighborhood better. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, Mayor-elect Kenney and Councilman Jones and Councilwoman Blackwell. Mayor Kenney, I heard you on National Public Radio. You made an outstanding statement. It was very succinct. You went full circle. It was about the voting issue. You started out talking about what's going on in Philly in terms of lack of voting, and then you reached back, and I was surprised to hear you use the turn of phrase, the vote, and you spoke of African Americans. And that's what we used to say. I'm from Alabama. That's what was said during that time period. I was there. When I heard you say the vote, I pulled over. It was one of those moments. I said, what is this guy going to talk about? Who wrote this material? In any case, what are you going to do to follow up on that voter education thing that you spoke so well about on NPR on Marty Moscone's show?
Let me say, first of all, part of the reason why people don't vote is because we don't engage them enough in the public process. And they don't feel that their opinion matters and that what they're going to say doesn't matter, and we're going to do things the way we're going to do them anyway, and don't listen to people. And that's not right. It's not the way you run a government. It's not the way you run a democracy. The thing that I raised relative to the voting history of this country is that our young people, both people, African Americans, Latinos, white kids, they don't know the history of this country. I mean, when you're asking somebody to go to the rec center to vote or the library, you're not asking them to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I mean, people walked across that bridge and was bludgeoned and dragged and dogs and water cannons just to be able to vote. And I think it's very disrespectful for any of us not to go out on election day and just walk to the corner and go in and cast their vote. Selma and Birmingham, they made me freer. They made me a more free person. And to respect what they did for us, I think we have to vote at least. We should be involved in our communities. We should be involved in everything we do in our neighborhoods. But I will tell you, voting is the most basic thing anyone should do to make sure that we pay homage to the folks who sacrificed the most. And as you go through our country's history, you know, slavery, people couldn't vote, women couldn't vote, you know, African Americans could vote down south and other places. We have a pretty bad history sometimes in this country, and we want to acknowledge the negative parts of our history and make sure we don't repeat it. But thanks for your comments.
So, since we have to leave this beautiful auditorium, we can take 2 more questions. And we are going to take your questions outside. I mean, these are the rules set for us. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor-elect Kenney. Congratulations. Of course, good evening, illustrious Janie Blackwell and Curtis Jones, councilpersons. My question, my name is Natrisa Dockery, and I have been a community activist all over this city for many years. And right now, I've lived in Parkside for about 12 years. My big concern is, you've alluded to it a lot tonight, but I really would like clarity on how you plan to structure your infrastructure in the new administration such that there is a genuine effort for redistribution of wealth amongst Philadelphians. I live in a district, and while I'm so proud to be in a councilwoman's district, when you look at the real statistics, that we are the poorest per capita household income in the city of Philadelphia, when you look at the stats and you see that African American women, who are the primary household owners, do not get any support in terms of keeping those houses up. I live in an area that now is beginning to flourish. And even though it's flourishing, still people cannot get livable wages to uplift their houses to the standard that this neighborhood is coming to. What will your administration do to ensure access by all people to resources in this city?
Well, we talked a little bit about job creation and making sure that and again, our chief diversity officer, making sure that the city government is diverse and that people have an opportunity to rise up in the ranks of our departments across the city. We are working with the building trades closely because there's an area there that's fallen down over the years, not being able to open their doors for folks of color who want to work in the construction industry, and we're working closely with that, with the laborers union and some of the other unions, to try to develop a school that will train people in construction trades so they have an opportunity to move into those areas. And the other area, frankly, is basically the wages that people pay. I mean, we have an airport where people are working cleaning planes, making $7.25, $8 an hour. That's disgraceful, and that's on a city property. Now, I've told them, those subcontractors, that come January 4th, if you're not paying the living wage in the city at $12 an hour, which still isn't enough, but it's not $8 an hour, $12 an hour, we're going to evict you. And I think the real way. Look, I'm a pro-union person. My father's a union firefighter. My mom was in the union. Everything I have is based on the fact that they were represented by a labor union. People should have the right and do have the right to organize. And what happens at the airport is those folks down there have been fired, they've been intimidated, they've been given bad working conditions and bad hours because they've had the audacity to sign a union card. When you collectively bargain with your employer, that's the best opportunity you have of raising your working conditions and your labor wages. And we're going to make sure that no one company is going to stand in the way of people wanting to organize as collective bargain with their employer. We have to pay attention to these issues on every level. It's with contractors, You know, people are cut out because they're not big enough, because they don't have insurance, because they don't have a bond, they don't have this. We have to make sure that we open the doors for people to build their businesses and to employ people in our communities through the use of city contracts. And all those areas we need to deal with, and it's very complicated, but well, that also comes with the possibility of making sure we invest in neighborhood business corridors so that people can start their own businesses and employ people in the neighborhood.
Oh, you gotta hold this. All right, yes, I'm the last one. Okay, good evening. My name is Catherine Blunt. I am in the 46-9 Ward and Division. I am the judge of election. I am a retired principal, a retired teacher. I am on the Commission for Universal Pre-K, blah, blah, blah. All right. But I am always an educator. And as an educator, I have to say that the economic situation in our city, this great economic divide where some are rich and a lot of us are poor, has engulfed our schools to the extent that they're not performing well. So I'm asking you to call a moratorium on all closings of all schools. No more charter schools. Charter schools do not perform better than public schools on the whole. So please, don't close Cook, don't allow that, don't allow Worcester to go, and Huey, please save our schools. Thank you.
So, I am the bearer of bad news. Be mad at me. Thank you for coming tonight. We have to leave the premises. However, we know we didn't get to all of your questions, so if you would like to speak to a team member, and many of them available outside, please leave your questions. Submit your questions online at kenneyforphiladelphia.com, and we have to say goodnight because we have to leave this beautiful auditorium, and people who are manning this have to go home and have dinner and go back to their families. So thank you very much for coming out, and there's another town hall tomorrow. Lauren, the other town hall is where? Mayfair, and this information is also on the website, kenneyforphiladelphia.com. So thank you very much, and if we could leave the auditorium in an orderly way. Thank you.